I'm joined in the studio now by columnist, playwright and World Vision Ireland ambassador Fiona Looney. Fiona recently returned from Uganda to witness the remarkable and inspiring impact a monthly donation can have on communities in need, especially during her school visits. But she also witnessed broken desks, bare concrete classrooms and worn-out blackboards. Fiona has established the Cófra, I hope that's the right pronunciation, Cófra Project, to help raise money for these vital classroom resources, and she's here to tell me more. We'll also be reminiscing about our own times in the classroom, so if you have any memories you would like to share, send a text to 51551. Fiona Looney, that was a long introduction. We're delighted to have you. Good morning, Fiona.
I'm delighted to be here.
So tell me, you are a World Vision Ireland ambassador. We saw you visit Uganda last year. What did you see while you were there?
Well, and just to say, the ambassador title is one I kind of got by accident. I didn't know I was an ambassador till I came back, and they only told me, and honestly there wasn't a Ferrero Rocher in sight, so I was kind of thinking, I kind of thought there'd be a bit better crack. So I was brought over by World Vision Ireland to meet my sponsored child, a little boy called John, who's a gorgeous little 8-year-old boy living out in very rural Uganda in a village. Now, I'd never been to Africa. Have you ever been to Africa?
Been to South Africa.
No,
but never the rest of the
this is East
continent.
Africa, and it's to say it was an eye-opener is putting it mildly, but a wonderful experience and so welcoming in the village. The village is exactly, kind of what I thought was the Hollywood idea of Africa, the mud huts, the thatched roofs, the smoke going up the middle of the thing. We were the first white people in John's village, which was extraordinary and very welcoming.
Yes.
But as part of my time there, I was brought to a couple of schools. So, my little boy, he's attending one of these schools. And everything in the village was so happy and colourful, and you're, just lovely people. And then you go into the schools, and honest to God, Marty, what a culture shock. The kids meet you at the gate and they dance. Ugandans just dance all the time. And they've colourful uniforms and they've made up songs about you, and it's just wonderful. And then they come into our classroom. And the first time I walked into the classroom, I kind of went, oh my God. To be very honest, I thought, would we in Ireland house livestock in a room like this? Big, outhouses, I suppose, what you would call them. Bare concrete walls, no glass in the windows, no doors in the doors. They don't need doors in the doors because there's nothing to steal there. What furniture they have is completely broken. And you go, and they're so happy and proud, and I'm there kind of completely conflicted by this because I'm meant to be going, my God, aren't you all great? But the biggest shock for me was I looked around at all these little heads and I thought, how many children are in this classroom? And I did say to the teacher, and I'm sure she saw, from my kind of the look of horror on my face, I said, how many kids are here? 200. And that's in one classroom.
200 in one classroom?
Children, yeah.
And I presume this classroom is about the size of what we would have here in Ireland.
It's about the size of this studio. So, yeah, it's probably bigger than an Irish kind of standard classroom, but not by much. And 200 kids. And you kind of... So I went into a few of these classrooms and they're really proud of their work and they want to learn. They really appreciate the importance of education, and the kids themselves are very keen to learn. But you're looking around, and in my first school, I kind of came away really depressed because I thought, they can't learn. How can you teach? And it's one teacher. How can one teacher teach 200 children in a room like that? And I kind of came away and said, what can we do? And I thought, well, you can't go in and build more schools because, it's their government, it's their country. You're very conscious of your place, in that. And you can't hire more teachers. And I kind of initially was very depressed. And then the second time I went into one, I looked around and I said, well, you know what? You could put some pictures up on the walls. And that was when I started to think about the Cófra. So, I know you went to school in New York, didn't you?
I went to primary school,
Yeah, so you didn't have a Cófra, but I bet you probably had one, but you called it by something different. Right. So the Cófra is the cupboard. It's the press in the corner of every Irish classroom where you have, your paints, your mala, your stickle bricks, your bits of, your construction equipment. And I thought of my own kids' classrooms, back in the dark ages when I went to hedge school, obviously, they put the sod of turf in the thing. But like we had mala, and plasticine, and, but paints. And we loved using the Cófra because, when kids are learning with their hands, they don't realise they're learning.
Correct.
You think you're playing, and you're actually learning. So I thought about then all the stuff my own kids had and these wonderful resources, these laminated pictures you can have on walls with the alphabet, or in Ireland with your bits of Irish and all that kind of.
And there was none of this here.
There's none of that. Absolutely.
Just a bare wall.
Bare wall.
200 pupils. Yeah. One teacher.
Yeah. And what textbooks they have tend to be shared between, say, 6 or 7 kids. So you've got all these little heads crammed over one very tatty book. And I just thought, this is something we could do, and it wouldn't cost a fortune to provide these classrooms with the resources that you would put in an Irish Cófra to give them, what World Vision came up with a lovely phrase, the cabinet of possibilities.
Yes.
And it's just to give them some tactile materials to make learning, just to help make learning a more pleasurable experience and a more valuable experience.
So right now, Fiona, how does one teacher teach 200 pupils with no
well, I suppose the
rudiments of teaching?
Yeah, the glib answer is with great difficulty, and only for the fact that they're very willing to learn. But, they've massive school dropouts over there, particularly girls, unfortunately. Girls drop out, once girls get their periods, they just stop going to school. So, on a bigger level, World Vision Ireland have recently been building wash houses in the schools, because they've shared latrines and, honestly, not for the faint-hearted. Yeah. But, to encourage these kind of, what we're trying to do is put these materials in that maybe, as well as enhancing their learning experience, that maybe these kids will kind of go, you know what, at the age of 12 or 13, do I want to go to school today? Well, actually I do, because I can paint a picture. Yeah. At its simplest level.
Absolutely.
And in the way that I remember when we were in primary school, we always on Friday afternoons used the contents of the Cófra. So, later on, in secondary, you'd see a lot of kids, well, not a lot of kids, but sometimes kids wouldn't come back after lunch on a Friday. But in primary, everyone wanted to be there on the Friday afternoon. You could be on your sick bed at home, but you'd insist on coming in on a Friday, Yeah. And, I remember the mala that we had in our, do you remember mala?
Oh, yeah. We played with mala, yeah.
Yeah, and just the way, oh my God, you could make anything with it. And the smell on your hands, and the mala board, the little boards that you used and all that. So we loved it. We absolutely loved it, And of course, at this time of year, I was writing about this last week. I know in our classroom in primary school, and this isn't really a thing that happens in classes anymore, but at this time of year, our Cófra was converted into a May altar. So the top of it, so we used to have our nature table on the top of it,
right.
With your leaves and your birds' nests and all that, and that all be swiped away, and the altar cloth and the statue of the Virgin Mary. I don't know whether that was more a girls' school thing now than a boys' school.
No, I think I remember I went to a Catholic school in New York, so it was with the Dominican nuns, and there were statues.
The Dominican nuns would have been mad for that.
There was a statue nearly in every corner.
Yeah, and every Irish person over a certain age knows that song, May is the month of Mary. And you can kind of, and even kind of singing that snatch, which that'll be an earworm for people now all day, and they'll be going, that song, But
goes back.
Yeah. So but it's to kind of give those, in the way that I have glorious memories of school that are very tied up. I don't really remember learning English spellings. I don't really remember learning maths, but I remember the mala. I remember the paintings. I remember those things. And it's to create those kind of, very tangible memories for kids, that positivity in Africa that we all had here.
So I would imagine, I love your title of your project, by the way, and it really does. You paint the pictures really well, Fiona, if I may say so. So I wouldn't imagine that would be that costly, would it? No, a good bit of fundraising and a positive response to what you're trying to do, and an awful lot of good will come from it. Yeah,
World Vision Ireland have costed it and we've done it with the field workers out in Uganda. So €3,000 will fully equip 3 classrooms, and that will include a lot of textbooks. You know, and we can actually, like, you know, we can put a huge, you know, €1,000 will do 1 classroom. And bear in mind, that's 200 kids.
Correct. Huge impact.
So it's really, we're not shooting for the stars.
No, that's it's very realistic and pragmatic. Yeah. So how can people get involved?
So if people go to worldvision.ie, when you click on that, you'll immediately see my very wrinkled face in the sun with my lovely sponsor child John, and it's called Cófra, and it's very straightforward. You click on Cófra and that'll take you through to donating on that. So worldvision.ie, and then that'll immediately take you. Yeah. See me, and you just go with Cófra, and that'll get you there. And honestly, no amount too small. And we're really appealing to schools to get involved with this as well.
They could do so much for their colleagues, if you want to call it that.
And you know,
thousands of miles away.
You, like, the reason I got into child sponsorship is it is such a great leveller when you've got Irish kids who come home and go, it's not fair. Why haven't I got the new PlayStation? Yeah. And when you can show them, you know, that their counterparts in Africa, this is what their classrooms look like, and you can help them. And it's a great way to kind of make kids aware of their place in the world.
100%, and schools should get involved, and worldvision.ie, click on that, then you'll find Fiona Looney, Cófra Project, and give as much as you can, but the benefits. Today you did a great job, Fiona, because I can envision a bare room with 200 pupils with one teacher trying to do his or her best, and this will help enormously.
Hugely.
Okay. Well, my thanks to columnist, playwright and World Vision Ireland ambassador, you got the title again, Fiona Looney, and keep up the good work. You're always welcome to this studio and to this programme. Thank you for joining us.